Okay, we are continuing the conversation on England manager Thomas Tuchel saying that Jude Bellingham must accept his decisions. He said, I saw that Jude Bellingham was not happy when he came off. I don't want to make more out of it, but I stick to my words. Behaviour is key and respect towards teammates who come in. Decisions are made and you have to accept it as a player.
When the World Cup rolls around, when you go deep in the tournament, as England I'm sure would be expected to, you want your difference makers to be available to you. Jude Bellingham is one of those, and one of the more reliable ones. I think you have those conversations with Jude, get him to understand what you're thinking, get him to buy into to how you're going about your business, and you make it work.
How did you see it, Mario? Because obviously it was his first start for England since June. He was subbed off 6 minutes from the end here. England have already qualified. What was your take on it?
My take on it is like, look, Jude is a big player. And I think sometimes, you know, we underestimate the situation where the kid is going through. You understand? He achieved it, he earned it. So I understand his reaction that you can be emotional, you can get carried away. Get that. You know, if the coach is not happy with him, yeah, he can say that. But away from that, if we keep on making it big, you understand, we also have to be careful. If you want a player to perform for you, you have to be careful that you don't always pick on him, because the more you pick on him, he's not going to deliver what you want him to deliver. Because what do you want now as a nation? You want all your players to fire well. And Bellingham is definitely one of the key figures. So I don't think they should be too hard on him. I think if there is a situation, and remember, don't let the confidence of a human being underestimate, you know, or disturb you from feeling confident, feeling sure about yourself. Allow the kid to be confident, because that is his strength, and that's why he plays so well for Real Madrid.
What did you think, LA?
What I think has to be made very clear to Jude Bellingham from Thomas Tuchel's perspective is what his role is in this team. And from conversations going into this set of matches, as Jude Bellingham had been called into the national team, Thomas Tuchel was talking about how, well, Kane, Foden, and Bellingham cannot play at the same time. They cannot be on the field at the same time. In saying something like that in a press conference leading up to the matches, you're already telling this guy, I don't know exactly where you fit in. So if I'm Jude Bellingham, I would want that clarity, and I say, and say, okay, what is it that you want me to do? The way it comes across is as if Bellingham is saying, I want to play the number 10, otherwise I'm not happy. That's the way it comes across. I don't think that that's exactly what's happening, and so Thomas Tuchel has to be very clear with Jude Bellingham. Look, this is where I see you with this team, and this is what I think your role is. Accept that role, because that's where I'm going to play you. Not where you want to play, not where you think you should be playing. This is where I think you fit into this structure. Make it very clear. And once you have clarity and you have told the player, and I think all players would agree with this, once a manager has told you what the expectations are and what he thinks you can do on the field for him specifically, then it's up to the player to deliver. And it's up to the player to accommodate that role and understand that he can thrive within that role. And so then the attention shifts onto Jude Bellingham. I think there is too much talking going on in the periphery here, where Thomas Tuchel's in the press conferences and you have Jude Bellingham gesturing and posturing. None of that helps. One talking over here and the other one posturing and gesturing over there. How about you two? You two come together and actually have a conversation, a tactical conversation, and say, this is what I think your role is for this team, and it's going to be your role going into the World Cup. I hope you buy into it. This is the expectation. Well, if you don't, that's on you.
Ali, and what I would like to see is both of those conversations take place away from the cameras.
Over a cup of tea
and then the two of you can then just say, guess what, we can have this conversation, but I'm not going to say this in a press conference, and you don't make those gestures on the pitch, so then we don't have to spend all this time talking about this. You and I can talk about it over here, and nobody else has to know about it, and we can go on and continue from this great run in qualifying and make a run at the World Cup without having all the drama that we know the English press is just waiting to have headlines, to have drama.
The amazing aspect to this is, from a Jude Bellingham perspective, I'm amazed at the rhetoric that somehow is being drummed up about him, that he is bad in the dressing room, they knew it at Real Madrid, they knew it at Dortmund. Never mind the successes that he had at both those football clubs. And to Ali's point about sitting down and detailing what your role is. The first thing Carlo Ancelotti did when he signed Jude Bellingham was say, this is how I see you fitting into my team. Even though that role changed during the course of the season,
With injuries and all this, yeah.
and then as they got deep in the Champions League, he started off as this kind of box-to-box midfielder, certainly arriving late, and then there was a lot of covering for Vinicius Junior second half of the season. He played both those roles wonderfully well because the manager sat down, explained what he wanted out of him, and exactly why, and got the absolute best out of Jude Bellingham. Now we have this kind of these two standing off, and the rhetoric that's being drummed up in the press that I don't agree with, and I don't think is at all helpful.
None of us, except Kay, English, right? So let me ask the English person on the panel here. When you're thinking of the World Cup and the best version of England, does that include Jude Bellingham?
Of course it does.
Of course it does.
And where do these stories come from? I feel that's why Mario is laughing. Are you laughing that most of these stories are coming from the English press, Mario?
No, look, we all, all lived there. Okay, most of us then, maybe except for Mali, but we lived there, we played there, you understand? So we know exactly how the press works. But I agree with what every individual said. Sometimes when something like this happens, Tuchel knows him better than anybody else. So have that conversation with the player because you don't want this to linger. This story should not take that long. For that becomes the whole big story. Sometimes even like the only why I'm laughing is because every nation has the same problem. In Holland, they make problems for them sometimes not to succeed in tournaments. And I'm asking myself, why are you guys doing that? In England, they do the same. Stop, man. Support your country. Support the team so the players can perform. That's all I'm saying.
Nice.
This is Erling Haaland bringing up the somewhat overzealous man-marking by Gianluca Mancini. He said Mancini was always marking me. He was touching my butt a lot.
Oh.
At one point, I got tired and yelled at him, "Oi, what are you doing?" But then I said, "Thank you so much for the motivation. Let's flipping have it." Then I scored 2 more.
This goes along. This goes on quite a bit with attacking players.
Yeah.
In my case, there may have been 1 or 2 instances in which the butt grabbing went on to the oil check, and hands went into places that they shouldn't have gone. And
Did it carry on into the players' lounge after?
no, it did not. But I must say, in the immediate aftermath, you're like, what? Did I just? I feel violated. What just happened here? And so it kind of takes you off your game, but then, in some ways, the best reaction that you can have is the reaction that Erling Haaland had. Now, the slight difference between Erling Haaland and myself is that he went on to score goals, whereas perhaps I did not. Look, this has happened over the years so many times to so many players. It is more difficult to do now because VAR and because of the amount of cameras that are actually all over the field. And so you can't quite get away with as much as you did, say, 20 years ago, and as much as some people did 20 years ago. You know who you are.
Now, excuse the pun here, Mario, but did you have this in your arsenal when you were a defender? Was this one of your tactics?
Those are some big hands. Hey, those are some big hands. Those are some big hands.
Let me be nice to you. Let me be nice to you. Look, Kate, look. I will play fair against everybody. But if you leave one for me, I'm definitely going to leave one for you. That's all I'm saying. So I do have to say, if they give you a kick, where they, especially in Italy, I'm not picking on Italy, but Italians sometimes, they leave one for you and they love to say sorry. I played against Inzaghi. He kicks me, he says sorry. He kicks me again, says sorry again. So I said, okay, now it's a friendly game. So I kick him back. He looks at me. I said, sorry. He gets angry. I said, so you can kick me, but I can't kick you back. I said, no, my friend. It's not going to work like that.
Mario, can you show us? Mario, can you show us your hands, please?
Oh, no. Hey, I don't have big hands. My hands are not big. My hands are not big. I'm safe. I'm safe on that. I'm
Imagine
safe
those
on
hands
that.
grabbing your backside. I'm telling you.
Hey, but I got a sharp elbow, Ellie. I got a sharp elbow. That's it. I do have.
Gus Poyet told me a story. When he's playing in Uruguay before he came to Europe. He's playing in Argentina in a Copa Libertadores game. And he said he's going up for a header. I mean, Gus is a big guy, you know, and so he's going up for a header. And he just felt something in his side. And he's like, what is that? The Argentinian defender had a hat pin and was stabbing him when he was going up for the header. So there's some things that go on. Maybe not, but I think I agree with Ollie 100%. With VAR has taken a lot of that stuff out of the game because what could have been off camera, away from things, you're going to get a big suspension now.
Wow. But you know who never had to deal with that? Goalkeepers. That's all I've got to, that's my entire contribution here.
Yep, you guys kept your hands to yourself.
Mm-hmm. You had gloves on.
You did have
gloves on?
Yep.
You did.
You got big hands too, Shaq.
Really does.
Dangerous too.
Big hands.
I think that's how we move on.